Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
So anytime the kids are worried or the altar guild is worried or anything, that's always my line. You've probably heard me say, I'm like, it's fine. God will show up. God will be praised. God will show up. The rest, it is what it is. I make a joke, God laughs. What? I know, I blame Eric. I blame the tech guy. The worst thing is I can't fire the tech guy because I married the tech guy. So we're stuck with the tech guy. So much paperwork to get rid of the tech guy. Well, let's talk about the gospel. Happy New Year. Yes, it's the new year. Advent marks the beginning of the church calendar, so it is a new year in the Christian faith. So you'll notice some things have changed. We're decked out a little bit differently. And let's see, some of the words will change, so you might want to pay attention to your bulletin this morning, because some things have changed a little bit there. And each week in Advent has kind of a theme-ish. And so we'll work through those as we get closer and closer to Christmas, which is obviously when, actually it isn't obvious. So in my first church was primarily unchurched people who came to church. It was really, what? They're fine, they know it. No, they're fine. They're fine. Look, St. Paul's is a magical church, not St. Paul's Lee Summit. St. Paul's Council Bluffs. St. Paul's Lee Summit is lovely too, but they are not unchurched Episcopalians. But my first church in Council Bluffs, and they would completely take pride in what I'm about to tell you, so they'll be okay, because it's online. I'm pretty sure some of them do listen. But primarily the people who came in were unchurched. So they came, and this is what we know about church growth, is that much of our growth right now is that in-between group. So the boomers all quit. The boomers quit church because their parents made them go to church in the 50s and it was awful, and so they all quit, right? They went to college and they were like, see you later. And so they all left. And so the Xers don't go to church. But so we have this huge influx of generations where they are virtually unchurched, right? They didn't grow up with our secular Christianity, which is really cool, actually, from a clergy standpoint, because that means that people who go to church now actually want to be here. Yeah, they're not here because your parents made you, which is a nice thing, actually. But it also means that you have to intellectually be on top of things because they have a lot of questions. Y'all have lots of questions. And I appreciate the questions, but sometimes you're just like, oh, did I learn that? I don't remember. So that's primarily what my first church was. And the reason I tell you this is because I was doing a lesson with some of our little people. And I was talking about Christmas and Jesus' birthday. And they're like, oh my God, Jesus' birthday is on Christmas? Like the same day? And I thought to myself, it is. How cool is that? Mary planned it that way. She's just that good. She's on top of things. She was like, I'm going to have this baby on a day everyone will remember. Christmas. Everyone will remember that one. Anyway, so we'll kind of piece through all these different things as we get closer and closer to Christmas. All of that was really just to get to the point of, like, Christmas is not that obvious in our world, but whatever, it's fine. So today's Gospels and our readings today are really focused at the end times. And what does that mean? And the confusion around the end times. And I'm assuming being Missourian, as like I live in Missouri, at some point you've gotten a flyer, probably on pretty colorful, shiny cardstock, that tells you to come to whatever location where they've rented out a gymnasium or a park or something big, because they're going to tell you about the end times, when it is, and how you can get ready, because you're going to be raptured, but your neighbor isn't. I mean, you're going to be raptured if you come to the meeting. If you don't come, you're going to be one of the ones who doesn't get raptured. Sorry about that. You better go to the meeting. Otherwise you're stuck with me, because I ain't going to the meeting either. We have an obsession with the end times. And Jesus ran into this with the people at the time. They're very, very concerned about the end times. Well, when is it going to be? How are we going to know? What about this? What about this? How do I know that I'm going to be one of the ones? I want to make sure I'm one of the ones. And Jesus is like, okay, here's the deal. Y'all need to chill out about the end times, okay? Stop worrying so much about the end times, because you don't know. You're not going to know. I don't know. Jesus doesn't know. Jesus doesn't know, okay? Jesus is God, all right? Jesus doesn't know. And Jesus is like, chill out about the end times. It's fine, because all these things are going to happen, and it will be what it will be. Have you ever heard somebody say that to you? It will be what it will be. And you want to punch them in the face? Because that's not the answer you're looking for, is it? No, because we like to plan. We like to know things. And so we feel like, sorry, I'm sitting today because I tired today. Okay. So we like to know things, right? So we can plan. We're like, if I just know when the end times are, then I can plan my life accordingly. Okay, can I just be real with you? What would your life look like if you knew the end times? What? Yeah. It'd be a lot more wild. How would your life look? You what? A dark boiler. Yeah, let's hope it doesn't look like that. Ooh, I hope not. And the kids are like, we've considered the end times. We've got plans. The rest of us adults are like, nope, not thinking about that. Because we've all considered our own mortality, and we're like, nope. And the kids are like, end times, yeah. It's fine. I love this church so much. I love you all. Okay, but here's the deal. You and I like to think that we know things, because if we think we know things, then we can plan for the things, right? Right? We put in our little planners, we make a list, we feel like we're in control of the things. But what if I tell you that we are not in control of the things? And what if there is freedom in the lack of control? What if there is freedom in the unknown? What if God got this, it's fine, we don't need those answers? Do our lives look a little bit different? Because they probably do. Because we are called to live in the moment, to be okay, to not be worried about the end times so much, but to be worried about the now times. Because the gospel is now. Jesus comes not to tell us about the end times, but to tell us how to live in the now times. It is not about a carrot, because so often it is that, right? So often in Christianity, we're like, we're going to hit you with a hammer, or we're going to give you a carrot. Which of those do you want? And it's all about the end times. Well, if you're bad, then you're going to hell. And it's going to be real bad. It's going to be the boiling black tar pit. But if you're really good, it'll be streets of gold. Do you want to? That sounds slippery. Nobody wants streets of gold. Anyway, so we have these visions that, like, okay, and we're going to use those visions to get you to do what we want you to do now. Right? What if I tell you that's not the point? Jesus didn't come to do any of that. It was never about power and control and manipulation. I mean, we humans like that. I mean, I would love a good power trip. and to manipulate you all, because oh my gosh, think of the things I could do. My car would look really different. My house would look really different. A lot of things would look different, but it's fine. But it was never about that. Jesus never came to do any of that. Jesus came to tell us how to live now, in the present. And it looks pretty simple, actually. It looks like love one another. That's it. It's that simple and that hard, frankly. So I want us to let go of that worry about the end times, about the planning. I want us to focus on the now. How do we live together now? How do we support people now? How do we care for the environment now? How do we help people in poverty now? How do we live in justice and community and love and sacrifice now? Not because of what could be, but because of what was. Jesus came and taught us that that's how we're called to live. It's not about what will be. It's about where we are now, right now, making a difference now, loving now. And that's hard for us, right? It's especially hard for us who are kind of educated in that world of planning, right? Because our education system, academia, is all about the plan. And it gets more and more so. Okay, I work in middle school. I don't know what you were like in middle school, but I know what I was like, and I know what they're like now. They don't know what tomorrow, they're just like really worried about their shoes, okay? And that's legit, because they take really good care of their shoes. I'm always amazed. But we have these things, we have 4-year plans now. So we come to our 7th graders and our 8th graders and we say, what's your 4-year plan? Because you got to have a 4-year plan for when you graduate. And then when you get closer to graduation, we're going to come up with your plan for college or after school. Anyone doing what they thought they were going to do when they were 12? Anybody? No. But we live in a world of planning. We've got planners, and we've got this, and we've got lists, and we've got these kids making plans and scheduling their lives. It's a myth. It is an absolute myth. Do you know the number of job changes that you're going to have on average? 7. 7. Think about that. But we tell kids when they're 12, you better know what you want to do. In kindergarten, we say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Hopefully happy. What if we focused on that? Would it look different? What if we weren't focused so much on the end times, but on the now times? Would it look different? And I'm not telling you to throw away your planner, because if you're like me, you're stuck with it. But I am telling us to change our lens, to look at it a little bit differently, to not be so sucked into the end that we forget the journey. Because sometimes we're so linear, we're so focused on the end, that we miss the whole journey of how we got there. And frankly, that was the adventure the whole time. I'm not looking forward to my kids being 18 and getting out of the house. That was never the point of parenting. There are days. I'm just going to be real. But it's about the journey and the adventure now, right? So we have to work on being present because, to be honest, we've been trained out of it. The monastics have known this for generations. They've always been really, really good about living in the present. We call it mindfulness now. It's like academia finally discovered it. I love that. I love when the psychology world acts like they discovered something that the church has been doing for like 1,000 years. Welcome to the party. The dip is mostly gone, but we're glad you're here. We invented all of this about 2,000 years ago. We got this guy named Jesus. He was all about mindfulness. Okay, but we're going to practice it today because we're not used to doing it. We're used to being busy. And it's that time of year where we're getting really busy, right? It's the time of year where we brag about being stressed. I love this in our society. How are you doing? Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm so busy. What are you busy with? Well, I got to get wrapping paper. Why? Well, I got to wrap these presents. Why? So the kids can unwrap them, and I can throw away the paper that I paid for, and I spent 25 hours wrapping it. You want to know why mindfulness is important? Wrapping paper is why mindfulness is important, because we find things to stress about, like, we got to match the pattern. Stop wrapping your stupid presents. It's dumb. Just put it in the Amazon box it came in. Kids will be just as excited. I promise you. I know. Follow me for more parenting tips. All right, so we're going to practice mindfulness because you're worried about getting grapes on sale at Aldi as opposed to County Market or wherever else. All right, so we're going to do a technique called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, this is a pretty common one. It's really a practice in being present in the moment. It's very, very effective in anxiety and stressed out moments, like when you're worried about wrapping paper. But then also anxiety is a true thing, so I'm not mocking true anxiety. I'm mocking our fake anxiety. Okay, so how this one works, there are many, many techniques like this. This is just one, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 works like this. We're going to go through our senses. We're going to start with 5. So I'm going to walk you through it so you don't have to keep track of this. I'm just telling you what we're going to do. So you have it in your toolbox for the next time you're worried about wrapping paper or where your Amazon package went, because it's not on your porch, because the picture of the porch isn't yours. And you're like, oh my God. Okay, so we're going to start. We're just going to go through our senses and count down. So we're going to be quiet except for my jabbering and the font going. Okay, so we're going to start with what you can see. So I want you don't have to shout it out. Please don't shout it out. I have to say this to my middle school students. Don't tell me. You don't have to tell me. What are 5 things that you can see? Look around you. What are 5 things that you can see? What are 4 things that you can feel or touch? What are 3 things that you can hear? What are 2 things that you can smell? If you're conveniently located to somebody who brought their coffee in, good for you. That's one of them. What is 1 thing that you can taste? And if it's Folgers, you can thank Eric for making the coffee before you got here. Okay, so that technique is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a super easy one. You can use it anywhere. Like I said, it's highly effective for anxiety or worrying or just that busyness that you start to feel, and you're going to feel it in the coming weeks. You just are. It's one thing that I joke about it. I joke about it a lot, but do you think I don't feel it? I've told some of you what it was like making Thanksgiving this week in a new house that is nothing but boxes and snakes and washing machines. It was a sweet little thing. It was just a little baby. It was fine. But you're going to feel it. You're going to be worried about the different things, right? And it's that time where everything is Instagram worthy. And if it's not Instagram worthy, you move the things out of the way to take the picture to make it Instagram worthy, right? Don't act like you don't. You do. And know that everyone else is doing the same things too. Their house isn't any cleaner than yours. Their kids aren't any more behaved than yours. Their Christmas presents aren't any better than yours. Their marriage is probably worse than yours if they're bragging about it on the internet. But we get wrapped up in these moments, right, where we forget that the whole point of this entire season is preparation and grace and calm and quiet. We forget that the whole point of this is that God loves us so very, very much that he sends an absolute tiny, tiny, vulnerable baby in absolute poverty to be with us, to experience what it is like to be human. That's what this is all about. It was all about sacrificial love. It was never about controlling the kids. It was never about making your marriage look better. It was never about having the perfect Secret Santa gift. It was never about any of that. We've added all of that stuff onto something to make it safer. Because if we're worried about stupid things, we can forget about the true grace that this is really about. Because sometimes grace is scary. And sometimes if we're willing to sit in that, it's scary. I invite you to sit this season. Sit in this. Take the time to be in the quiet, to be in the wonder, and to be in the grace. And don't worry so much about the end.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.